Imagine holding something in your hand that looks so ordinary at first glance, just a simple Washington quarter. You might even ignore it, toss it in your change jar, or spend it without a second thought. But what if I told you that inside those tiny details, those hidden mint marks, and those mysterious imperfections lies the power to unlock a fortune that could change your life forever? Tonight, we are not just talking about coins. We are uncovering treasures so rare, so breathtakingly valuable that collectors across the world fight tooth and nail just to get their hands on them. These are not the kinds of coins you will find on every street corner. No, these are once-in-a-lifetime discoveries, legendary pieces of American history that carry secrets, power, and jaw-dropping wealth inside their silver frames. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because the coin you're about to see in the number one spot is not just rare, it's shocking, it's historic, and it is worth a staggering amount of money that could put you in the league of the richest collectors overnight. Welcome back to Ultra Rare US Coins, your most trusted channel where we reveal treasures hidden in plain sight. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because every single day I bring you the newest updates, the latest finds, and the most faithful, trustworthy insights into the world of rare coins. Now, let's dive right into the top 5 ultra-rare and most valuable Washington quarter dollars you must know about in today's auction market. Coin number 1. When you first glance at a 1944 Washington quarter, it may appear like any other coin from that wartime era. But pay closer attention, because the San Francisco Mint, marked by that tiny but powerful S, produced something extraordinary. This coin, with its deep history tied to the final years of World War II, was struck at a time when America's resources were being pushed to the limit. Silver was scarce, demand was high, and yet these coins came out with a craftsmanship that makes them stand apart from the rest. The composition itself is classic, 90% silver and 10% copper, giving it that unmistakable brilliance collectors crave. Over time, though, some pieces developed what we now call black spotting, a natural toning caused by age, environment, and chemistry. To the untrained eye, it may look like damage. But to a collector, it is a signature. It is proof of authenticity. It's what transforms a simple coin into an irreplaceable artifact. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. This specific 1944 with black spotting is not just a historical keepsake, it is rare beyond belief. You see, while millions of Washington quarters were struck during that era, very few survive today in conditions that make collectors' hearts race. The majority were worn down in circulation, lost, or melted. But when you find one preserved, carrying those unique darkened spots, you are looking at something that can command the attention of the entire numismatic world. Collectors demand this coin for 3 powerful reasons: history, rarity, and survival. The history ties back to the war years. Every coin from 1944 holds echoes of that generation. The rarity comes from the San Francisco Mint's smaller production numbers compared to Philadelphia. And the survival, well, finding one in collectible condition, with those naturally developed spots intact, is like finding buried treasure in your own backyard. And let me tell you, the treasure value is no exaggeration. The current market value of this 1944 Washington quarter in old condition with black spotting is standing tall at an astonishing $125,000. Yes, you heard me right. $125,000 for a single $quarter coin. That is not a dream. That is not hype. That is the hard truth of today's auction market. This coin is no longer just pocket change. It is a life-changing treasure. And mark my words, Its value is climbing day by day because the demand is relentless. If you hold one of these, you are not holding 25 cents. You are holding a ticket to a fortune, a treasure chest condensed into silver. For collectors watching right now, here's my advice. If you ever come across a 1944 Washington quarter with the letter S mint mark, don't look at it as just a coin. Study its surface. Look for those black spots, those aging marks, because they are not flaws, they are proof of time, proof of authenticity. If you're lucky enough to own one, treat it as if you're safeguarding a legendary relic. Protect it, certify it, and treasure it, because coins like this don't just add to your collection, they elevate it into history. And here's the conclusion. The 1944 with S Washington quarter is not just a collectible. It is a living piece of American history, a silent storyteller of the 1940s, and a vault of wealth that is only appreciating with time. Whoever owns it is sitting on a treasure so rare, so precious, that its worth is beyond imagination. And this, my friends, is just the beginning of our countdown. Coin number 2. Now, let's step back even further in time, to the year 1942. The world was at war, industries were transforming, and America was pouring every ounce of its strength into the fight for freedom. Amid this turbulence, the United States. Mint was quietly striking coins that would one day become extraordinary treasures. One of these, silent, rare, and often overlooked, is the 1942 Washington quarter without a mint mark. At first glance, it may not scream rarity. After all, Philadelphia, which struck these coins, traditionally didn't place a mint mark on their issues. But that absence of a mark is exactly what makes this piece fascinating, because it links directly to the heart of the United States, Mint's largest and most historic facility. Each of these coins is 90% silver and 10% copper, a shining testimony to America's pre-war silver coinage. The one we are focusing on tonight carries a gray shade with subtle black dotting across its surface. And let me be clear, those aren't flaws. They are the fingerprints of time. They are what give this coin its beautiful, battle-worn look, like an artifact that has traveled through history and emerged stronger, rarer, and more valuable than ever. Collectors adore the 1942 no mint mark Washington quarter for several reasons. First, its historical weight. Each coin minted that year was born in the shadow of World War II, circulating in the hands of a generation that sacrificed everything. This is not just a coin, it's a witness to the era. Second, its rarity in surviving condition. Yes, millions were struck in Philadelphia, but the number of pieces still existing today in fine, collectible condition is astonishingly small. And third, its unique aging features. The gray toning, the black dots, the natural patina, these are the kinds of details that set one coin apart from another and drive collectors into fierce bidding wars. Now let's talk about demand. Make no mistake, this coin is a heavyweight in today's market. While ordinary 1942 quarters may still surface in pocket change or bulk silver lots, finding one with this combination of condition, toning, and preservation is nearly impossible. Collectors know it, dealers know it, and auction houses know it. Every time a high-quality specimen comes to light, it sends shockwaves through the community, sparking competition and record-breaking prices. And this, my friends, is where the treasure reveals itself. The current market value of this 1942 Washington quarter without mint mark, in fine condition with that gray shade and black dot beauty, stands tall at a breathtaking $135,500. Yes, $135,500 for a single Washington quarter. let that sink in for a moment. That is not pocket change. That is not a mere collectible. That is a vault of wealth, a treasure chest compressed into silver. And listen carefully, this value is not static. It is climbing. Day after day, year after year, the hunger for these rare survivors only grows stronger. If you hold one, you don't just have a coin, you have a treasure whose price is destined to rise higher and higher. So here's my advice to collectors. Don't overlook Philadelphia quarters just because they lack a mint mark. The absence of that little letter is what connects this coin to the heart of American minting history. Look for those gray shades, those dark dots, those natural aging marks that prove it is the real deal. If you are lucky enough to secure one, protect it with everything you have got. Grade it, encase it, and keep it safe, because coins like these are no longer just collectibles. They are historical treasures that are becoming rarer every single day. In conclusion, the 1942 no-mint mark Washington quarter is not just silver. It's not just history. It's an heirloom of unimaginable value, a piece of America's wartime story, and a treasure that any collector would fight to the ends of the earth to own. And the truth is, if you are holding one, you already have what many collectors spend their whole lives chasing, a rare, powerful, priceless artifact that puts you in the league of the elite. And believe me when I tell you, the coins we have coming next in this countdown will leave you stunned. The deeper we go, the more breathtaking the treasures become. Stay tuned, because coin 3 is going to shock you with its rarity, its beauty, and the life-changing fortune it carries. Coin number 3. As we move deeper into our list, we arrive in the early 1960s, a time of change, optimism, and history in the making. America was on the edge of the space race. John F. Kennedy was in the White House, and a nation was preparing for the future. Yet hidden in the fabric of that very era, the United States. Mint quietly released one of the most stunning treasures of modern numismatics, the 1962 Washington quarter without a mint mark. Now, you may be thinking, 1962? That doesn't sound like it's all that long ago compared to the 1940s coins. But here's the twist. It is precisely because it's newer that most people overlook it, and that is their biggest mistake. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this quarter carries no mint mark. Like others of its time, it is composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, which instantly makes it part of the great pre-1965 silver coinage era. But here's where things take a fascinating turn. Unlike most 1962 quarters that saw years of circulation being passed through countless hands until they were worn smooth, this particular coin is in uncirculated condition, untouched, unspoiled, and preserved like a time capsule. And yet it has a secret. Across its otherwise brilliant surface are natural brown spotting patterns. To the casual observer, they might appear like blemishes. But to true collectors, these marks are not flaws. They are part of the coin's unique identity. They give the coin personality, depth, and undeniable authenticity. Imagine a coin that has survived over 6 decades without ever being spent, yet it carries its own individual markings like a fingerprint. That is the kind of rarity collectors dream of. What makes this coin so exceptional is the combination of factors. It's silver, struck in the final years before the United States. Abandoned silver in its quarters. It's Philadelphia issued without a mint mark, tying it directly to the nation's primary mint. It's uncirculated, something unbelievably scarce for a 1962 coin. And finally, those brown spots make it a one-of-a-kind survivor, instantly recognizable and endlessly fascinating. Now let's talk demand. Collectors chase coins like this relentlessly. Why? because uncirculated silver quarters from the early 1960s are disappearing fast. Most were melted down for their silver, others circulated until they were nothing more than worn slivers of history. But this coin, standing pristine, untouched, and marked with its own natural aging commands absolute attention at every auction where it appears. And here comes the part that makes jaws drop. The current market value of the 1962 Washington quarter without mint mark, in uncirculated condition with its unique brown spotting, is a staggering $97,000. Let that sink in. $97,000 for a coin that most people would mistake for everyday pocket change. That is not fiction. That is reality. And mark my words, this is not its peak. The value is climbing day after day, year after year. If you are holding one, you are not holding just 25 cents. You are holding a treasure chest of wealth, an artifact of history, and a fortune that will only grow as time goes on. For collectors, here is my advice. Never underestimate the power of condition. An uncirculated coin tells a story of preservation, care, and rarity. If you come across a 1962 quarter without a mint mark, study it carefully. Look for those brown spot patterns. Look for brilliance in the fields, and most importantly, protect it if you find one. Send it for grading, encase it, and guard it as though it was solid gold. Because in the eyes of the numismatic world, it practically is. In conclusion, the 1962 no mint mark Washington quarter is more than just silver. It is a window into the past, a piece of early 60s America, and a priceless treasure that has risen far beyond its humble beginnings. Whoever owns one is not just a collector, they are a guardian of history, holding in their hands a coin that future generations will revere as both art and fortune. And if you think this treasure is rare and valuable, wait until you see what is next. The deeper we go into this countdown, the more shocking the rarity, the more astonishing the beauty, and the more life-changing the value becomes. Stay with me, because coin number 4 is going to take this journey to an entirely new level. Coin number 4. Now let's travel back to the late 1950s, a golden period in American history. Rock and roll was sweeping the nation. Cars were bigger, shinier, and faster than ever, and the country was living in an age of optimism. But while the world was watching Elvis Presley and drive-in theaters, something far less flashy but infinitely more valuable was quietly being produced at the Denver Mint, the 1957 Washington quarter with the D mint mark. At first sight, it looks like a simple quarter, but look closer. This particular coin carries a deep black shade across its silver body, the kind of natural toning that only decades of time can create. Far from diminishing its appeal, this black toning is what sets it apart. It gives the coin a mysterious, almost majestic aura, like a piece of silver that has absorbed the weight of history itself. Let's talk about its composition. Like its predecessors, this 1957 with D quarter is crafted from 90% silver and 10% copper. This was the last era before the government began moving toward clad coinage just a few years later in 1965. That alone makes it special. But combined with its survival in very good condition, it transforms into something truly extraordinary. Why does condition matter so much? Because most of these coins did what coins are meant to do. They circulated. They bought groceries, fueled cars, paid for movie tickets, and jingled in pockets until they were worn smooth. The fact that a 1957 D quarter has survived in collectible condition with its striking black toning is a miracle in itself. Collectors crave this coin for multiple reasons. First, its Denver origin. Coins with the D mint mark have always carried a mystique, especially when fewer pristine survivors exist compared to Philadelphia issues. Second, its visual uniqueness. The black toning is not a flaw, but a story proof of time, atmosphere, and preservation. And third, its rarity in today's market. Every year, the number of well-preserved 1957 with D quarters dwindles, either lost to time or hidden away in private collections. When one surfaces at auction, it immediately becomes the centerpiece of bidding wars. And here comes the jaw-dropping part. The current market value of the 1957 Washington quarter with the D mint mark, carrying that dark black shade and preserved in very good condition, is a breathtaking $107,000. Let that number echo in your mind. $107,000 for a coin most people would mistake for everyday change. This is not hype. This is not exaggeration. This is the reality of today's market. Its value is soaring higher each year, and those who own one are holding a treasure that only grows more precious with time. So, what's the takeaway for collectors? Simple: never underestimate toning. That black shade is not a blemish, it is beauty. It's proof that the coin has lived through history while retaining its strength. If you're ever lucky enough to find a 1957 with D quarter, examine it carefully. The mint mark, the toning, the preservation, all of it could add up to a life-changing discovery. And if you do own one, my advice is this: protect it. Encapsulate it. Treat it like the treasure it truly is, because the market is hungry and the demand will never slow down. In conclusion, the 1957 with D Washington quarter is more than silver. It's a time capsule of the 1950s, a symbol of American resilience, and a treasure chest worth over $100,000. Whoever possesses this coin isn't just a collector. They are a guardian of history, holding in their hand a relic so valuable it could rival a king's ransom. Coin number 5. Here we are, my friends, the final treasure on our list, and it's one that proves beyond any doubt that rarity hides in plain sight. We've traveled through the 1940s, the 1950s, and the early 1960s, uncovering silver masterpieces worth fortunes. But now, we land in the year 1968, a year of immense change in America, and a year that quietly gave us one of the most underestimated but powerful treasures of the Washington Quarter series, the 1968 Washington Quarter without mint mark. Now, why 1968? What makes this year so different, so special? Well, for starters, by this time, silver was gone from our quarters. The mint had switched over to clad composition, a core of copper sandwiched by nickel. Most collectors ignored these new clad coins at the time, thinking they could never rival the silver beauties that came before. And yet, here's the twist. That very dismissal is what made certain survivors incredibly rare and valuable today. This particular 1968 no mint mark Washington quarter, struck in Philadelphia, carries something collectors obsess over: unique aging features. Across its surface are gray spots, patches of toning that formed naturally over decades. Add to that a dirty, weathered look, and what you have is not a flaw, but a fingerprint of history. This coin looks like it has lived, like it has traveled through time itself, carrying every mark as a badge of survival. Collectors know that 1968 quarters were struck in massive numbers, but here's the reality. Most of them never made it out alive in collectible condition. They were spent, worn down, tossed aside, or simply ignored as common. Which is why finding a no-mint mark piece from Philadelphia in this kind of preserved state, even with its dirty, spotty look, is nothing short of miraculous. The rarity here doesn't just lie in the coin's date, but in its condition, survival, and character. A coin like this tells a story, a 1968 quarter that should have been lost to circulation forever, yet somehow managed to make it through decades intact enough to catch the eyes of collectors today. That story is what fuels demand. And when it comes to demand, let me be clear, this coin is wanted. Auction houses know it, dealers know it, and collectors around the world know it. Whenever a 1968 no mint mark Washington quarter in this kind of condition appears, it doesn't just get attention, it sparks competition. People bid fiercely because they understand what they are looking at. A treasure hidden in plain sight, one that most people would mistake for just another piece of pocket change. Now comes the part that will make your heart race. The current market value of this 1968 Washington quarter without mint mark, carrying its grey spots and dirty condition, is an incredible $68,500. Yes, you heard me right. Nearly $70,000 for a clad quarter that most people wouldn't look at twice. That is not a dream, not a fairy tale. That is the reality of today's market. And here's the truth, the value is only climbing. As fewer and fewer of these coins are found, and as collectors recognize the rarity of such survivors, prices will soar even higher. If you hold one, you are holding a treasure chest in disguise, a fortune hiding in plain view. So, for collectors out there, don't dismiss post-1964 quarters just because they're clad. Look closely. Study their surfaces, their mint marks, or the lack of them. Look for those grey tones, those aging marks, those dirty survival patterns. Because sometimes, what looks ordinary is in fact extraordinary. And if you're lucky enough to discover one of these, treat it with the reverence it deserves. Protect it, certify it, and hold on to it tightly because it is far more than just a coin. It is treasure. And here is the conclusion. The 1968 no mint mark Washington quarter proves that even in an era where silver was gone, treasures still lived on. It's a piece of American history, a survivor of its time, and a fortune condensed into one small piece of metal. Whoever owns it doesn't just hold a quarter, they hold a story, a relic, and a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. And there you have it, the top 5 ultra-rare and most valuable Washington quarter dollars in today's auction market. From the wartime silvers of the 1940s to the overlooked clad issues of the late 1960s, these coins prove one thing beyond any doubt. Treasure still exists in your hands, in your pocket change, in your collections. Each coin we have revealed tonight is more than just money. It is a piece of history, a work of art, and a fortune waiting to be discovered. And remember, the values I have shared are absolutely current, taken straight from today's market, and they are only climbing higher. These coins are not fiction, they are real, powerful treasures that collectors are fighting to own. So if you're passionate about coins, stay connected with ultra-rare US coins. This channel is trustful, faithful, and updated every single day with the newest finds, the biggest treasures, and the most accurate, exciting information in the numismatic world. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next discovery. Because who knows, the next life-changing treasure might be sitting right there in your pocket.